Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Dan. And today, as you can see, I'm still continuing my Disney movie marathon, where I'll be talking about the movies, of course, merchandising, theme parks, documentaries, I don't know, whatever the case may be. If it's related to Disney in any shape or form, then yes, of course, I'm talking about it. So here we go, I reckon. So, okay, first of all, I'm just going to say this right now. I'm going to make two parts of this. And because this podcast I'm going to be responding to is quite long, so I just figured I'll just split it in two parts. The first one's going to probably be the longest one out of the two, by the way. And that's probably because I just want to get a huge chunk of this out the way. I'll be honest with you. Because in some ways I kind of don't want to do this. Because it's the same garbage being regurgitated over and 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 over. Anyway, let's get straight to that point so we get this out the way, I guess. Thanks for tuning in, by the way. And it's from this one woman I never really discussed before at all. And she does this programming called changing worldviews because apparently she knows the right way. I'm not sure if she's a pastor or whatever. And I mean, it wouldn't surprise me because some of these individuals are pastors, by the way, so I wouldn't be shocking at all. And probably lives in a small town. I don't know. I'm just throwing guesses right here. But basically, she wants to talk about Disney, of course. And I don't know if this is the only time she spoke about Disney. I don't know. I just came across this was when I was trying to conduct some research here. So chances are it wouldn't surprise me though. But that's kind of besides the point because I'm going to focus on this one here. The one I'm talking about is changing how cultures are changing. I'm not going to really see this coming and whatnot. Of course, this is more in response to how Disney's been doing their thing nowadays compared to back then, and she don't like it. I know, what a shocker, right? Well, back in my day, how things were used to be and all that jazz. And she's gonna bring up something about history like the Holocaust, Hitler, and all that. I don't know what any of this has to do with anything. But as typical of these type of Christians, will bombard their listeners with a truck ton of information, aren't even remotely related to each other whatsoever. But she's trying to do some kind of history lesson to provide a point. I'm guessing to go on the idea that Christians are being persecuted. Yeah, I know. Again, not a shocker whatsoever because a lot of these Christians, again, mind you, that's a lot, but a lot of these Christians tend to play the victim. Oh boy, they love to play the victim. So much so, it might as well be a professional job by this point. And yes, a lot of them do this kind of thing for a living. They may make these podcasts, videos, or essays, whatever you want to call it. They might do a bunch of these actually for a living and get paid to do some kind of website or whatnot, like YouTube, for example. But yeah, a lot of these Christians actually do this kind of thing for a living. Oh, woe is me, blah, 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 and all that jazz. So we're going on that kind of thing. And she's going to attempt to do like some kind of deep dive, or at least I think that's what she's doing. I'm not quite too sure because, of course, a lot of this entire thing is extremely vague. It's so confusing. I'm so confused here. I'm already confused. But anyway, she's trying to do some kind of breakdown because somehow Disney is doing something bad against Christians. Again, to be more specific, like I said a moment ago, this is going from more modern day era of the of Disney, and she assumes that Disney is after Christians, and that's kind of why she wants to bring up this whole history lesson because the evidence isn't pudding. I guess however that phrase goes, catch your hand red-handed, however that is, because the information is in this history lesson because there's some kind of pattern here, I guess. Again, I don't know. This entire thing is really confusing. So, okay, let's just get into it, folks. We're going to some heavy subject matter, literally for no reason. The vast majority of this is just unprompted, because, oh no, poor little me, I'm just going to throw a tantrum. Wah. But anyway, okay, I'm just lollygagging at this point. So yada yada, blah blah blah, so on and so forth. Let's just get into it. Christ Almighty.
Get ready for Sharon Hughes. It's unfortunate and tragic that I have to teach this committee the basic principles of Americanism.
That's not the question.
Saying it like it is.
Marx himself said that his primary goal was to destroy capitalism and dethrone God.
If I had my way about it, they'd all be sent back to Russia or some other unpleasant place. Bringing you familiar guests on important issues such as immigration, education, the Middle East, culture, religion, and the changing worldviews of Americans and the world. Now here is Sharon for such a time as this.
Freeing the minds of the brainwashed masses.
Today,
controversial scientist Richard Dawkins suggests that eating human meat created in the lab may help overcome the taboo against cannibalism. He envisions human flesh becoming a form of clean meat, a product created using stem cells that could help feed the world without slaughtering any creatures.
Man, this intro is taking so long. I'm actually daydreaming right now. I'm just enough to think about how Wednesday and the one blonde here they could become a good couple. Yeah, maybe I could write my own little story if I wanted to. So anyway.
Close your eyes. See with mine.
Mrs. Witch is a combination, for me, of Glinda the Good Witch in The Wizard of Oz, which is my favorite movie of all times and actually one of my favorite spiritual enlightenment teachings when Glinda says, "You've always had it, always had the power."
Shut up! Oh my God, I don't care!
It sounds great on the onset, but if you really look at both sides,
There couldn't possibly be just one way. What about Jesus? What about Jesus?
we're continuing our discussion on cultural delusions this week, and we ended up last time talking about Richard Dawkins, atheism's modern-day guru, who advocates for cannibalism.
All of that is a complete lie. Nothing but lie. A lot of you Christians spread the same kind of propaganda against God's people as well because you claim that they're satanic, apparently. You realize you could be Christian and Goth, right? That is possible. And what's wrong with being atheist? There's nothing wrong with that either. What?
Says those who believe in God are hallucinating, has been a part of something called Rapid Response Team that was encouraging people, especially young people, to, quote, blaspheme against the Holy Spirit. We're going to continue with more of that and all.
Okay, that doesn't make any sense. Just because you don't believe in God, that in itself does not mean it's blasphemy. I mean, I know you want people to believe because you act as if the worst sin of them all, worse than murder, worse than anything else, the worst sin ever is not believing. Which in itself is ridiculous. That's why you brought that up, the whole thing with the atheists and whatnot. But okay, again, not making sense.
Oprah Winfrey in Disney's new movie, A Wrinkle in Time, playing a godlike figure. Really just more New Age feel-goodism, if you will, put on the screen, this time for children. Well, what do we need to know about what Oprah Winfrey...
Oh, you're going to really do the whole thing of the children argument? Really? Think of the children. We have to protect the children. You're going to really do this? That seems highly manipulative. What is with young Christians and with this kind of argument? Help the children, help the children, help the children. Help them from what exactly? What?
Really believes, especially in light of the fact that there's talk of her perhaps running for president next time around. Will she? I don't know. But there's no time like now to take a look at what she believes about God, whether she runs for president or not.
Be a human being, and many ways, no, but many paths to what you call God.
You're listening to Changing Worldviews with Sharon Hughes, getting to the heart of the issues and the worldviews behind them.
Okay, let's finish up our discussion here on Richard Dawkins, atheism's modern-day guru. Here's some more of some of the things that he has said. Dawkins also said, I am against religion because it teaches us to be satisfied with not understanding the world.
Okay, not every atheist is going to think you're stupid, okay? I mean, you are, but I mean, you specifically, you're acting really stupid, but not every single atheist is going to think every single religious person is stupid. No, not for the most part. These two groups of individuals can be friends, you know. It is possible. What are you talking about?
Religion teaches us to be satisfied without understanding the world. So what does he understand about the world that those who believe in God don't? Science is his God. He believes science over God. Not that science contradicts God. Science just doesn't understand everything that God created or why or how. Just because men of science have discovered some of the laws of nature and creation doesn't mean...
Okay, this is completely idiotic. You realize you're doing exactly what he's claiming to be right? Yeah, science has helped out nature in a lot of ways with the mysteries of nature. I mean, not everything, of course. There's still a lot needs to be discussed here. Still quite a bit. But saying this actually goes against you.
They are greater than God. Hello? And I know not all scientists feel that way. Many scientists believe in God, believe in the Creator. And God has told us an awful lot in the Bible about the world. You know, it just may be part of the reason why it is the #1 best-selling book of all time throughout time. Hello. Dawkins also said, quote, people of a theological bent are often chronically incapable of distinguishing what is true from what they'd like to be true. That's from his...
I still don't know what this has to do with Disney, so I'm guessing she wants to go through all this and just get up to Disney stuff, I guess. This is what I'm getting from here. But yes, a lot of you Christians, again, I said a lot, not all, a lot of you Christians are in fact incapable of discriminating what is true and what is false. Yeah, that's actually a pretty solid statement to make, actually. So, okay, you're not really making any sense again here, but go on.
The God delusion. So who is he to say that? How can he be the judge of those who believe in God and say that we're incapable of distinguishing what is true from what we'd like to believe is true? What is his plumb line? What is his yardstick? What does he measure truth by? His own thoughts. I mean, in reality, anybody could say anyone was hallucinating.
Okay, yeah, that's true. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're in the right here, because you're still completely and utterly wrong. I mean, that's true, sure. But you're trying to use that as a way to defend yourself. And there's many people that criticize Christianity. Even the more well-known people had done that. Just case in point.
That is my biggest fear. To imagine my baby girl, having a life beat out of her with a closed by an adult.
And most of us would be in jail.
She's herself.
Yeah.
Going, where's my superhero?
Yeah, we'd be in jail.
Where's my dad? Yeah. God don't step in then? A child? Tears? Pissing themselves? God don't step in. That's bullshit. I remember I read an article about a little girl who was going to Sunday school, and she would walk back from Sunday school home in New York.
Mm-hmm.
The girl went missing for several days. Eventually, they found her body, raped, beaten, killed. While she was coming home from Sunday school. If it had been an adult coming home from Sunday school, okay, but at least an adult has a fighting chance.
Right.
But a child from Sunday school, God don't go, I give man free will, but nah, not on this one. Even the mafia goes, no women, no kids. The mafia has a code. God don't. And the only thing you can leave me with is they'll be dealt with. You won't see it. You don't know for sure, but they'll be dealt with because that's what the book says. That's garbage, man. That's garbage.
Anyone could say, I know that I know the truth and you are hallucinating. You are deluded. I mean, I don't want to turn this to a Bible study here, but even if you just study how many prophecies have been foretold and have been...
Oh, Christ almighty. Literally everybody from every religion has said the same thing. Even the Jehovah's Witnesses, the Catholics, you name it, they all said the same thing like you did. Oh, the prophecies came true, blah, 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 the projections and whatnot. Again, that's not true at all. No.
To the letter. I mean, that might be a good place to start. And for those that have wrestled with these questions or maybe have even been a fan of Richard Dawkins or consider yourself an atheist or agnostic, you can believe whatever you want. But if you really want to know if God is real and if it's true, all you have to do
Take a Jesus figurine, stick him on some Jiffy Pop. Boom, he has risen.
Do is ask with a sincere heart, God, if you are real, will you please let me know? And he will. He will always answer a sincere heart. Stay with me. We'll be right back.
How did we get here? What does it mean to exist? And how do I know I exist? What is reason? What is logic? And what is the meaning and purpose?
We will not allow far-right religious extremists to own what it means to be a Christian in this country. It is a lie to say that Christians oppose queer liberation and LGBTQIA freedom. And it is a lie that has been repeated over and over again, especially in the media.
Of life. Have you ever thought about that?
If you've thought about it, then join the thousands already on the journey.
It is a long time coming. Projects such as the Truth Project.
The Truth Project is a life-changing small group DVD series. It's easy to facilitate, but it's going to spark some of the most challenging discussions you've ever been a part of.
And so I am so glad we are here with all of these cameras and reporters, and we are changing the narrative that LGBTQ freedom and Christians are somehow opposed. The truth is that Public Religion Research Institute has polled Americans. Pew Research says,
what is evil? That's kind of a harder thing to answer.
The only way to get your hands on this content is by attending the 2-day Truth Project training conference coming to a city near you. You can get venue and schedule information at thetruthproject.org.
Participate,
change, lead.
Has polled Americans, and over again, they find the majority of Christians in this country support non-discrimination protections for LGBTQ people. That is the story. That's the story that's not often told in the building behind us or in the media, but it is the truth.
Those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. While there are various versions of that quote, nonetheless, its sentiment rings true to all lovers of truth. Remembering history, in other words, learning from it, is a key to not repeating it. And all month long, we are going to be pointing to and pointing.
I'm an atheist, and I believe that we all came from nothing.
I'm an atheist, and I think that God is just a delusion.
I'm an atheist, and I think that intelligence is just a random accident.
I'm an atheist, and I believe that God is not real.
I'm a robo-theist, and I believe that artificial intelligence is the one true God.
It has to be a kink. It has to be a fetish. What is up with so many theists? Just making up these completely fantasized worlds in realities about people that don't believe. I just don't understand.
Finding out history, real history, not the rewritten versions. And to go along with that are...
Okay, aside from the fact that's extremely patronizing, but what do you mean rewritten history? I know you're trying to use this one movie that this one was in some of his evidence. You still haven't explained how. How is this evidence to your claim exactly? This makes no sense at all. I mean, yes, like I said earlier, yes, it's a bad movie, a very bad movie. Not the worst, but still bad. But it's not because of what you're saying. Speaking of rewriting stuff, you Christians actually rewrote Christmas because this was actually a pagan holiday. I know you Christians don't like to hear that, but yes, this is actually originally a pagan holiday. I did went into more in depth into this a while back in my last Christmas movie-a-thon, so I don't want to just rehash what I already said. But yes, you Christians claim that this is a Jesus birthday, which in reality, there's nothing to back that up. Some of you Christians say it's on Easter, then some of you Christians say it's on, I guess, summer, but the date of his birth keeps changing. It would vary from Bible to Bible. Also, when you think about it, Easter and yes, even Halloween are also both pagan holidays as well. But of course, you Christians have to rewrite a lot of this because you think it's okay. Then you complain about atheists and everybody else who criticize you. Oh, they're rewriting history, not you. Okay.
Our special offer this month, yours for a donation of $25 or more, is a 4-part CD series with 10-time Pulitzer Prize nominee Edwin Black on the War on the Weak and IBM and the Holocaust.
Like, they just completely make up shit in their head just to, like, speak down on these other people. I don't fucking understand it, bro. Like, if you don't agree, you don't like it, and you want to shame it, do whatever the fuck you do, okay. But making up fake shit is just fucking weird. The main thing that threw me off is that it tried to make these, like, monkey-like characters for atheism.
It's all about Hitler, Israel, and the United States. A very important part of history that we may think we know, but have we learned everything from that part of history we need to? And are we passing on real history to our kids and our grandkids?
Oh, in fact, Hitler wrote fan mail to the associates of Margaret.
And I guess it's taking a shot at evolution or some bullshit. I don't know. This is pure anti-intellectualism. It has to be. It just is. I'm sorry, but regardless of your religion, you should accept evolution.
Sanger of Planned Parenthood, who also was a eugenicist and who wished to eliminate the existence of 2/3 of humanity through her methods. Virtually all forms of genocide in the last 200 years that I have studied have emanated and been cultivated at the university level.
It's practically proven. It's practically proven, bro. Like, there's almost no way you can deny evolution at this point, bro. There just isn't.
I'd love to send you this 4-part CD series, War on the Weak and IBM and the Holocaust with Edwin Black for $25. Send your check to Changing Worldviews, P.O. Box 995, Cedar Ridge, California, 95924.
This is Cliff Kincaid of Accuracy in Media saying Sharon Show, Changing Worldviews. It's one of the best shows out there in terms of getting alternative news and information into the hands of people.
Again, yes, I know this has nothing to do with Disney at all whatsoever. She's just putting out so much information about, I guess, things leading up to the Disney topic, which a lot of these individuals tend to do when you think about it. And I just don't understand it, really. Like, why does this have to be a thing? I don't know. And like we said a moment ago, mentioning the Holocaust and all that. This is very, very dark subject matter. And these type of people look in the world way too black and white. There's no morally gray or merits to anything at all. It's either my way or the highway. Sounds like, of course, nothing more than a total control freak, which these people are. It's ridiculous. It is so ridiculous. You can't just act like a dictator, you know that. Anyway, so whatever, I guess.
Because then some people would be confused thinking that it was, quote, a Christian or Christian affirming movie. Time magazine reports about the movie that it came out in a time when audiences clearly, quote, want a balance between escapism and reality, stories that leave them feeling good, but not without some prodding to examine the world around them. And the movie actually opens with one of the producers exhorting the audience to be open, because if they will see the world in a different way. Oprah Winfrey said, when you don't see yourself, there is a subconscious psychological manifestation. It's diminishing. But to see yourself as the savior of the world, threatened by unquantifiable evil?
Again, this is way too black and white. The way you view evil is not going to be the same way like Oprah Winfrey would view evil or anyone else, for example. The way you would view evil, oh, Satan did this, Satan did that. It's all Satan's fault. Whatever is good in the world is because of God. Whatever is evil is because of Satan. Yeah, that's it. That's literally it is. It's so it's overly simplistic. It's a black and white logical fallacy when you think about it. It's also a straw man argument as well, which in itself is a logical fallacy when you think about it. Because and again, it's also appealing to tradition. Logical fallacy because that's how you grew up with in your childhood, and that's how your parents grew up with, and that's how their parents grew up with, and their parents and their parents, so on and so forth. You get the deal. So it's been passed down for generations, So as a result, you feel like this is the absolutely only way the word going to work. So if anything, it's also appealing to authority logical fallacy. So yeah, right off the bat, that's four of them right there when you think about it. Oh, this video is already lengthy as it is. Come on now, give me a break, will you? It's also, I mean, okay, yes, it's also a conform bias. You're very controlling. I mean, that much is obvious. So it's self-defeating, very self-defeating argument here.
Will have an impact far beyond anything any marketer, any researcher, any of us even know. Quote unquote.
Close your eyes. See with mine. We heard a cry out in the universe. My father's alive. We believe.
Yeah, she's talking about this movie as if it wasn't obvious enough. I mean, yes, I will agree that it is a bad movie. It's easily one of the worst Disney films that they made. The absolute worst? Okay, I won't go that far, but it's still a terrible film, which, again, it is. Can't stress that enough. So don't be thinking I'm agreeing with her in any shape or form, because she also says that it is a bad movie, which, again, it is. But we're saying it's a bad movie for completely different reasons. According to her, it's a bad movie because apparently the higher ups of Disney had trying to erase any political, I guess, storytelling elements, whatever, from the movie because the higher ups, whoever worked on the movie, I mean, is against Christianity. Therefore, it's terrible. What are you talking about? There's no hidden agenda within the movie. Again, the movie does have a terrible storytelling, yes, and there's a lot of it that doesn't make any sense. Okay, I mean, if anything, my problem with the film is that it has really terrible uh, concept. I mean, the concept I do kind of like, but if anything, is the execution that's bad. I like the idea actually, having something to do with time and whatnot, having these characters have to work together to fix the problem. So there's bits and pieces that could potentially make a good movie. So it's if anything, it's the execution that's awful. But of course, we're not going to look at any merits here because anti-God, it's just having this kind of attitude and whatnot. So I don't know what this lady's talking about, really.
He is, and we're here to help you find him. We are in search of warriors.
Warriors who serve the good and the light in the universe.
Mrs. Witch is a combination, for me, of Glinda the Good Witch in The Wizard of Oz, which is my favorite movie of all times and actually one of my favorite spiritual enlightenment teachings when Glinda says, "You've always had it, always had the power."
Okay, she took some inspiration from Wizard of Oz and applied it to the movie, and she applied to her own self that she can actually do anything. Okay, I don't see no harm in that. Like, okay, so what? A lot of people could do the same thing because, okay, an example, like, let's say Luke Skywalker from the Star Wars Expanded Universe. He's brave. He's morally right, of course. He's not perfect. He makes mistakes. But a lot of people took inspiration like him because he was just an ordinary farm boy who wanted to do something great, but he wasn't sure if he was be able to. Well, what do you know? He is capable of achieving greatness, even though he's just simple farm boy. So there you go.
So the very idea of being able to portray one of the wisest women in the millennia was exciting to me.
Not a stretch.
Felt right at home.
Yes.
No, because I have been counseled by some of the wisest, Maya Angelou. So she felt like a combination, this character, Mrs. Witch, felt like a combination of Maya. I could hear Maya in my head the whole time, every time I spoke, and of Glinda. Mm-hmm. You've always had it, my dear. Glinda the Good Witch. And there are many lines that my character, Mrs. Witch, says, like, all you have to do is find the right frequency and have faith in who you are.
Okay, she might have taken some inspiration from this movie, at least to some extent anyway, and applied here. I don't have a problem with this, actually. It's not like this was the only time this kind of thing had occurred, because this has happened on a multitude of different times. So I know the lady here, I know she's trying to make it seem like Oprah Winfrey, she's arrogant, like she's worshiping herself, whatnot. and she's delusional because she's not relating this to Christianity in any shape or form. So what? Again, this kind of thing is nothing new. This has happened at multiple different times. This isn't about self worship or anything like that. It's okay. She's having confidence. So what? And taking one inspiration from another movie and making your own. This has happened multitude of different times because, well, case in point. Okay, just like how the original Godzilla film has some kind of inspiration from the original King Kong, and this gets fairly obvious when you think about it. And also how the Star Wars films were, I guess, also heavily influenced by stuff like, let's say, the Flash Gordon stories. So there was that. And also on top of that, how US even anime, and bring that in for a short moment here, because how Sailor Moon was inspired by, let's say, DC's character Wonder Woman. And not only that, let's bring Goku, for example, of this as well. Because he was clearly inspired by, let's say, the character, again, DC Superman. Yeah, that's an actual thing, by the way. Not only that, let's just say that the Matrix movies, especially the first one, had some kind of inspiration from Ghost in the Shell stuff. Or even like how Batman himself also had some kind of influence. I mean, it's not the only one, but let's look at Max Zorro. There's some resemblance there to some extent. Ugh. If you actually done your research, you would have known this. What are you even talking about? What?
Those are not my exact words, but many, many times when I'm counseling my own girls.
Well, as far back as Oprah has been on television, she has talked about religion, and here's a clip from an earlier show and what she thought about God then.
One of the mistakes that human beings make is believing that there is only one way to live. That's right. That we don't accept that there are diverse ways of being in the world, that there are millions of ways to be a human being, and many ways, no, but many paths to what you call God. And her path might be something else.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who believe in different versions of the Bible. There's many versions of Jesus Christ. There's multiple different versions of God. There's multiple different versions of the Virgin Mary and pretty much every Saint Peter and all that jazz. Of course, there's a bunch of multitude of different versions for all these individuals. So again, you acting as if nobody else is rewriting history except you Christians. You Christians have done that multitude of different times. What are you talking about? Yes. Yes, even Christians will get along with other Christians. What does that tell you right there? It's a confusing mess.
And when she gets there, she might call it the light. But her loving and her kindness and her generosity brings her, if it brings her to the same point that it brings you, it doesn't matter whether she called it God along the way or not.
And I guess the danger that could be in that, I mean, it sounds great on the onset, but if you really look at both sides,
there couldn't possibly be just one way.
And here's a clip of something she has said most recently.
We are all spiritual beings having a human experience. So are you ready to open your heart? Are you ready? I have respect for all faiths, all faiths. But what I'm talking about is not faith or religion. I'm talking about spirituality. So I want to get clear on what I mean by that. It means, my definition is living your life with an open heart through love.
Yeah, I don't see nothing wrong with that. She has a point. You can live your life with an open heart and love everybody and whatnot, unconditionally, of course. And, okay, I don't see the harm here exactly. She makes a lot of good points when you think about it. And I mean, this doesn't really relate to the movie per se, but she's just trying to explain on experience, I guess. I mean, I guess she's trying to explain herself how she came up with the character. I mean, she didn't really come up with the character, but she's trying to explain how her character is and how it relates to her life and whatnot. I mean, that sounds reasonable when you think about it. Okay, sure. So there's that. And okay, I don't see nothing wrong with that either. I'm just trying to be positive, trying to be loving, all that, and just spread positivity. Again, what's wrong here exactly? I don't know. I don't see what the issue is really at all. But okay. So there's that, I reckon. Sure. But I don't get it. Okay, she's trying to, I guess, explain this into the with the movie in some respects, I guess. But again, what's the problem? I don't know.
Well, Oprah Winfrey, without a doubt, has influenced millions of women, especially here in America and around the world, millions of viewers, and she has very effectively brought her New Age spirituality into the American household that she believes. But we've done some shows on that. As a matter of fact, real in-depth look at her beliefs and those people that she advocates, the books that she has held up as being some of her favorites. If you're interested in more, just go to our website, changingworldviews.com, and visit our archives and search Oprah.
Jesus Christ, lady. Okay, I mean, aside from the fact you sound condescending, you sound so defeated. You sound very, very defeated when you think about it. But, I mean, what did you do that was so wrong? Like, what exactly did Winfrey, that was so terrible exactly? What? What did she do? All she was trying to do is spread positivity and love to her audience and whoever might be watching on the tube, the TV. So, and she just trying to express, you should spread more love to everybody else. But okay, and somehow this is evidence that the movie that she was in is spreading antichrist somehow. What are you talking about? How does this relate to uh, her spreading hatred towards Christianity? She's literally doing the exact opposite. Literally the other way around. She was trying to put positivity. She may not believe in the same version of God that you believe in, but you're acting as if that in itself is the issue. How is it an issue exactly? I don't know. I mean, so what? She believes in a different version. So
And
what?
you'll see the shows that we've done on that. In the meantime, we have to take another break. And on the other side, I want to tell you about a movie that I can recommend. If you haven't seen it yet, I think you'll want to.
If you like what you're hearing on today's show, you could get even more information from our Follow the Facts page on our website at changingworldviews.com. And our issues library is full of useful information on all the subjects Sharon addresses on the show.
You are listening to the sound of the heartbeat of an unborn baby just 28 days after conception. Every day, more than 3,000 abortions are performed in this country, and each abortion stops the heartbeat of a living unborn baby.
Oh, please, give me a break. This was never about abortion. Whether it's the right thing or wrong thing to do, either and or, ultimately, Christian like you just want to control women. Even though you're a woman yourself, you just want to control women. At the end of the day, it's just about control. That's it. You just want to control and have absolute control, like it was some kind of dictatorship like North Korea or something. Okay, I'm not really the one to say what a woman can and can't do with her body because when she's pregnant, I mean, ultimately, what a lot of these Christians want is to have more babies because a lot of these Christians, like I said, multitude of different times, they view these women just nothing more than just baby factories, and that's it. They just want to have them make babies, and that's it, and nothing more than just that. Just make babies, make babies, make babies. If a woman wants to have a truck ton of babies, a truck ton of children, it should be left to her. I mean, it takes two to tango, sure. So she would have to have a conversation with a partner and whatnot. I just have this kind of a conversation, and it's going to be financially supportive and emotionally supportive because those two things are major factors in all this. And yes, not only that, having enough space if said woman wants to have a ton of kids. If a woman wants to have a lot of babies, it should be up to her. She should make that choice. And when it comes to abortion, it's, of course, a very, very touchy subject matter. It's something I normally don't want to talk about, really, because I know it's a very, very sensitive subject matter. I know it's something that is spark a political debate. I don't understand as to why we're going this direction and whatnot. And I know these Christians view abortion as something pure evil because that child would never, I mean, that, I guess that your child will never be born and never become a Christian because what they truly want is more people in the church. Because what they're trying to find is that more and more people become pregnant so they can have more and more kids for their church. So if anything, they want this to be having making babies for the state rather than for them individuals. So if anything, just view them as something for the church and nothing else. Because they want to make sure that their belief system will last a long time for generations and generations and generations. Which doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, it sounds off creepy when you think about it. To view her as nothing more than just this baby making machine and nothing more. Because ultimately, you just want said woman or women to be for the church and nothing more. Like I just said a moment ago, it's doing it for the state and the individual desire, I guess you can say. It's weird. It's really weird. But do it in the name of Jesus, I guess, or whatnot. That's just odd. Technically, when it comes to kind of an abortion, you're technically removing the stuff that becomes the baby, that would eventually become the infant, that would eventually become the child. You're technically going to just remove before all that becomes a thing. I don't know why she had to word it in a way because going to kill you don't kill the child while she's already say 3 weeks pregnant, 4 weeks pregnant, or 4 months pregnant. You don't kill the child right then. I mean, okay, excuse me, the baby right then and then. You don't do that. But the way she's wording it, she's coming off like you're gonna do that right then and there. Was a lot. I mean, there were some circumstances where the baby does die in the mother's stomach. That has happened. In some circumstances, unfortunately, that has occurred, of course, unfortunately. But that's not what we hear or that. That has nothing to do with this specifically, anyway. Anywho, that aside, folks, it's just really odd that pregnancy is something coming into this, of course, and the whole thing with abortion and whatnot. And like I was saying a moment ago, it's not really about what's right or wrong. It's really about control. And these people are trying to mask it as if it's some sin if you have an abortion and whatnot. Which, again, seems like a major plot hole when you think about it, because when you think about it, why can't God Himself stop it from happening? And wasn't there the Great Flood? The Great Flood from Noah killed off a bunch of babies. Didn't that happen? Didn't that occur? Didn't one a lot of animals pregnant? One a lot of people pregnant? So you think that they'll be okay with abortion because a lot of abortion did happen within the Bible itself. And what will happen to kill the firstborn? Yeah, kill the firstborn is a thing in the Bible. Some kind of sacrifice kind of a thing, some kind of ritual and whatnot. That's a thing. So are we just going to ignore that? All right, folks, that'll be it for now. I'm going to split this in about maybe 3 parts, I guess. But until next time, see you, I guess. This is so confusing.